The story begins with our protagonist, Haejin, who was sitting in the class, admiring how great Korea is and how capitalism rocks. But in this country, if you are poor, you would be the prey of the rich, same as this girl. Some girls were bullying the poor girl, making her wear their dress and them calling her a pervert who seduces boys. They mock her, saying she wanted to seduce the new transfer student. They were talking about our protagonist, who was watching all this while eating a burger. The other bullies see him watching and think he was corky for watching and then ignoring him as if he didn't see anything. The bully throws away the burger that he was eating and starts calling him names like he was a piece of trash who came to South Korea from a shitty place. The other bullies were laughing at him as well, and they told the bully to stop pestering a loser like him. Haejin relaxes his body onto the chair and told the bully in a corky voice that he wanted to live, that North Korea was a shitty place to live in, and that how there were no burgers, cokes, or Nikes. The bully says that he should act like his pig dictator, Kim Jong-un. Haejin describes the bully's personality in 2 words: scum, filthy bastard. The atmosphere of the class completely changed. The bully was pissed now and attacks Haejin. Haejin grabs the Coke bottle and hit the bully with that, making him fall to the ground with a nosebleed. The whole class was shocked after seeing this. The other bully attacks him as well, but he easily blocks their attack and punches them first, and he was not holding back against them. He was brutal. During the fight, we come to know that he was a spy sent from North Korea. The older spies get caught easily, so they sent him at the young age of 18. After that, the class begins. The girl who was getting bullied was sitting next to Haejin. She was looking at Haejin, and when he looks back at her, she thanks him for what he did back there. He told her that he didn't do that for her, but she thanks him anyway. She told him about those guys, how they were the worst and no one could do anything against them, and they were not going to stay still after that. He told her that if she continues to live like that, she would get hurt badly one day, but that had nothing to do with him, so he told her to do what she wanted. He compliments her, saying the dress she was wearing looked good on her. In a bar, a guy was talking to someone on the phone. The guy on the phone was scolding him for letting that kid beat their goons and told him to take care of this mess. The guy calls him chairman and assures him, saying it all happened because he didn't go to school that day and that he would take care of him before this matter goes any further. This guy was Yongjin High School's boss, Park Seung-do. They were wondering who was this transfer student who got into a fight with them just after his transfer. They wonder if he was sent by other groups to take over their school. They decided to teach him a lesson for messing with them. The next day at school, that bullied girl asks Haejin for his help with the trash bags. After throwing the trash, she asks him if he run away from North Korea because he wanted to live. She told him that South Korea might not be so different from North. She starts crying, saying she wanted to live too, and we see the boss of that high school was there with his goons. They were the ones who made her do that. But they get surprised when Haejin says he was waiting for them, and that he came there knowing that. Seung-do gets annoyed with his corky attitude and asks him what his motives were. Was it to conquer the school? Haejin agrees with him. He said that he wanted to make money just like them and make connections with the higher-ups. They were shocked to hear that because it was some top-secret stuff that not many people know of. But Seung-do wasn't planning on playing around from the start, and more guys come there as well. Seung-do give him an offer to work under his command because he needed guys like him. He would even pay him monthly, and could also go out with the girl that brought him there as a bonus. Being in a gang like that was the perfect cover for a spy. He told them that he was planning to go out with that girl from the start after seeing her in that outfit. He asked them if he could do whatever he wanted with her. The boss admires him for his manliness. He says to the girl in a cold voice that he had told him this would happen if she doesn't change. The girl was completely stunned and started crying. Seung-do gives him $200 as a bonus. Haejin says to the girl that from now on, she belonged to him, and told her not to cry the next time but to fight instead. He punches Seung-do and his blood splatters everywhere. With just that one punch, he was down. Everyone there was baffled. Haejin knows that being on their side would be the best cover for him, but he doesn't care now. The other goons attack him at once and their bloody fight begins. He remembers his childhood and his sister. How he had to train from the beginning when he was just a child. And the training was so brutal, many kids gave up and took their own life to get away from that hellish life. For him, running away wasn't an option. If he wants to live, he had to be the one who beats both the North and South. And that's how, from the 505 Special Forces, Im Haejin begins the school takeover. Now we see how they used to train them in North Korea. One of the high-ranking officers recognizes Haejin as a valuable fighter. He was strong, smart, and has impressive learning capabilities. He could be a high-ranking official in South Korea. They agree to send him as a spy because the older spies were busy surviving. But the only problem was that he was an orphan. So chances of him betraying were higher. But the other officer assures him on that matter, saying he has one family he was loyal to. He was talking about Haejin's sister and shows a picture of her to him. In the present time, Haejin was still fighting the students, and they were no match for him. He was beating them one by one, brutally. The boss, Sung-do, was terrified and couldn't understand what was going on while he was beating the heck out of them. Soon after that, only Haejin was standing there, covered in blood. Sung-do offers him more money, but Haejin mocks him, asking for 100 million per month. Sung-do had lost it now. He grabs a brick near him and attacks Haejin, but he simply kicks him in the face along with the brick. The bully girl was horrified and runs away from there. Haejin asks the bullied girl if she wasn't gonna leave as well. She apologizes to him for bringing him here. He told her that this still would have happened without her, but if she really was sorry, she should give him 50,000 won. She was surprised to hear that. At a restaurant, NIS Team 3 leader of domestic operations, Sun Ju-won, was investigating Haejin. He had already confronted Haejin if he was a spy, and Haejin had confessed without hesitation that he was a spy. Another NIS agent also comes there and sees him reading that guy's file. She says that he was obviously lying about being a spy so that he could get some attention. But the NIS leader told her that he really was a spy. She was shocked and asked him why he hadn't caught him yet. But the team leader had better plans. At some other place, Haejin and the girl were eating somewhere. He told him about her sister who works at a cold noodle restaurant in North Korea. After he was done eating, he leaves saying she still owes him the rest of the 48,000 won. She thinks he couldn't be serious about that. While going to his apartment, he thinks about the past, how they separated him and her sister when they were just children. He was planning to get her out of North Korea. He realizes that the girl resembles her sister very much when he senses something and someone attacks him from behind. He dodges the attack and sees that it was Sung-do, and this time he was with older gang members. Sung-do threatens to go after Sabiek, the bullied girl. Her mom was admitted to hospital, and if something were to happen to her, it would be Haejin's fault. And that's not all. He says after he was done beating him, he would do unimaginable things to his body as well. Haejin was stunned to hear what was on his disgusting mind. He slams one of the gangsters' faces onto the ground in anger and told Sung-do that he touched the wrong person. Before coming after Haejin, Sung-do had told everything to his dad, and he was beating him for not cleaning the mess he had spread. His father was the one running the school and was angry at him, but when his manager told him that the guy was from North Korea, he stops. He didn't want the chairman to know about this, so he told his manager to take care of the kid, silently. The manager puts some newbies to this matter, and Sung-do was excited to take his revenge on Haejin. But he doesn't understand why he was the only one standing there. All his men were down, except him. He runs away and gets in his car, and was ordering his driver to get out of there. But before they could drive away, Haejin comes inside, breaking the glass, and kicks him in the face. The driver tries to fight back, but he just silenced him with one punch, and told him to take him to his father. The manager was wondering why didn't they come back. It had been 1 hour since they had gone. He gets a call and was shocked when he hears that Sung-do had been kidnapped. He realizes that the guy was not any ordinary high schooler. He was a professionally trained individual. He calls the boss, Sun goes further to brief him on the situation. The boss replies to the manager that he already knows that because Haejin was already there with his son. The boss was with the chairman at that moment. The boss told the chairman to leave first, but Haejin slammed Sun-do's face onto the table and told both of them to stay where they were, as he wanted to talk to both of them. His father tries to be hostile, but Haejin breaks his son's finger and orders him to stay put if he didn't want to see him in more pain. All his father could do was just watch while the chairman kept annoying him, asking him what was going on. He snaps and starts beating the chairman himself. He beat him up until he fainted. After beating him up, he asks Haejin if he was confident in what he was doing. Haejin replies he was, and he also wanted to make a deal with him. He asks for all the Yongjin Group's transaction ledgers so far. He calls him crazy for putting such a ridiculous demand and gets angry at him. Haejin breaks one more finger of his son, and now he couldn't control himself and attacks him, and Haejin says that the negotiation was over now. As the boss comes closer to him, he makes him punch his own son. Haejin was about to strike back and the boss gets his guard up, but instead of punching him, Haejin starts punching his son, over and over again. His father was completely dumbfounded seeing his brutality. He completely messed up his son's face and asks him again if he was ready to talk now. Haejin calls him by his secret name, Northern Snake Head Comrade. Hearing this name coming from his mouth completely shook him from the inside. He told him that he knew about his secret because he was a spy, just like him. He further goes on to tell him that North Korea was watching him and would come after him soon. They had ordered Haejin to take over the Yongjin High School, and that's how the boss, who was in control of the high school, became their target. But unlike them, he didn't want to punish him and offered to hand over the Yongjin High to him, and he would bury the rest. The boss says what if he refused. Haejin immediately broke one of his son's arms and threatens him, saying the next thing that breaks was not gonna be an arm. And the boss could see in his eyes that he was not bluffing. At the school, the other delinquents were waiting for Sung-do to come, but he wasn't answering his calls. They were planning to get back at Haejin, as it was embarrassing for them to lose to him. As they were about to go look for Haejin, he comes there himself. One of their group leaders tries to raise his voice, but Haejin just kicks him in the face and silences him. He told the other delinquents that Sung-do was not gonna come to school that day and orders them to sit down. He told them that starting today, the school was under his authority. At the hospital where Sung-do was admitted, the manager was asking the boss what happened there and why he gave the data of the Yongjin High School to him. The boss says to himself that no matter how rusty he was from old age, that guy was someone who was trained professionally, and the way he broke his son's arm like it was nothing shows how cold he was. Haejin was planning to take over the school from the beginning and used his son as bait to catch him. He orders his manager to kill him and everything would get back to the way they were before. But before that, he hears some commotion outside. Sumner's officers come there with an arrest warrant against them for organized crime groups and espionage. And while the boss was resisting, the officer calls him a communist, indicating he already knows that he was from North Korea. The boss tries to convince them that he was a South Korean citizen, but it was too late. One of the NIS members asks the team leader who gave him the information, to which he replies that it was another spy. After that, the team leader goes to meet Haejin. On the day when Haejin surrendered himself to the NIS, he confessed that he was a spy sent by North Korea, and there were many more other than him, and they were of high status in South Korea. He told him that her sister was held hostage in North Korea, so he wanted to negotiate with him. He proposes that he would be a double spy. In the present, Haejin gives him more data on other schools as well, and in return, the team leader shows him a picture of her sister. They were keeping an eye on her for him, and also indicating that they could find her sister if he betrays them. The next day at school, Sabiek was thinking about what Haejin had told him that day when those girls come to bully her again. They were calling her filthy for going on a date with Haejin that day and insulting her in front of the whole class. They further go on to even say that she invited him to her house because her mother was hospitalized and no one was home. She hadn't even completed her sentence yet when Sabiek punches her with all her strength. The bully falls to the ground unconscious. Everyone in the class was shocked and surprised to see her in that form for the first time. Haejin also comes to the class and simply asks her to move out of the way. Sabiek was still in shock after punching her and couldn't believe it was her who did that. She thanks Haejin for it, but he doesn't understand what she was talking about,